Today, we're going to dive into something pretty incredible, how a simple little piece of silicone can totally rebuild a runner's stride from the ground up. We're going to break down the surprising science that connects one single toe to the power of your entire foot. So let's get right into it.
So where does this all come from? Well, our whole deep dive today starts with a real-world problem from a runner who is really struggling. They saw this huge improvement in their form and just had to know why. And you know what? Their experience is the perfect case study for us to unpack.
And here it is, the heart of the matter. A bunion was basically jamming up their big toe, and it was killing a super crucial part of their running stride. Then, after 4 months with toe spacers, boom, it's fixed. So were the spacers responsible? Oh, absolutely. But the real magic is in the mechanics of how they worked. That's the really interesting part.
Okay, so to really get the fix, we first have to understand the problem. So let's take a look at what a bunion is actually doing to your foot from a mechanical point of view. Because it's not just a bump, it's a fundamental breakdown of your foot's entire architecture.
Yeah, the clinical term is hallux valgus, but forget the fancy name for a second. The phrase to focus on is dislocation of the leverage point. Your big toe is meant to be the final powerful lever that propels you forward with every step. A bunion messes all that up. It misaligns that lever, pointing it in the wrong direction and just totally compromising its power.
And this visual just makes it so clear, doesn't it? On the left, you've got a normal foot, where the big toe points straight ahead, ready to do its job. But on the right, well, you can see the toe is angled inward, and that jams the whole joint. It's like trying to close a door with a crooked hinge. It's just not going to work smoothly.
And this right here is the key difference in how you move. A healthy foot rolls cleanly over the toe, giving you a powerful push-off. But with a bunion, that joint is jammed, so your foot is forced to roll around it. This doesn't just feel awkward, it completely kills your propulsive power and creates all this inefficient friction.
So if the problem is a derailed joint, the solution is, well, you've got to re-rail it, right? Those 4 months our runner spent using toe spacers, that was basically a long-term project to restore the proper mechanical track for their big toe to ride on.
So how did it work exactly? It's really a three-part process. First, you've got simple physical realignment. The spacer just physically pushes the toe back into place. Second, this allows the foot's natural spring, known as the windlass mechanism, to work again. And we'll talk more about that in a second. And third, over those 4 months, it gently stretched all the tight tissues that were pulling the toe out of whack in the first place, improving its overall movement.
You know, the training wheels analogy is absolutely perfect here. The spacers held the toe in the correct position, day in and day out, giving the muscles and ligaments the time they needed to adapt and basically relearn the right way to move. But this wasn't the only thing getting fixed.
See, our runner also had another super common issue, a severely flat foot and a collapsing arch on their other foot. And they started noticing something incredible was happening there too. So this was their follow-up question. They're feeling more stable on their flat foot, the arch isn't collapsing as much, and they're wondering, could this also be because of the spacers? I mean, it seems almost too good to be true that one simple tool could fix 2 different problems on 2 different feet.
And the answer is a huge, resounding yes. By fixing the alignment of that one toe, they were inadvertently turning the entire suspension system of their foot back on. The change they felt wasn't just in the toe, it was the whole structure of the foot starting to support itself correctly again.
So, how in the world does this work? We're now shifting from fixing a simple lever to rebuilding the entire foot suspension. And this all ties into a brilliant piece of biomechanical engineering that's built right into every one of us.
This is the key concept right here, the windlass mechanism. See, your arch isn't a rigid bone structure like a bridge, it's a dynamic dome, and it's held up by the plantar fascia, which acts like a tension cable. When that cable gets tight, the arch rises up.
To make this really simple, just picture the plantar fascia as the arched cable. It runs all the way from your heel to your toes. Its whole job is to provide that tension to support the arch. But for that cable to work, it has to be connected properly at both ends. And that's where the big toe comes in. Think of it as the kickstand. When your big toe is splayed out wide, where it's supposed to be, it creates this super stable base that physically stops your ankle from rolling inward. With a flat foot, that kickstand is often folded in, offering zero support. The spacer simply deploys the kickstand.
And there's actually a specific muscle, the abductor hallucis, whose main job is to act as this kickstand. Now, in people with flat feet, this muscle is often weak, overstretched, and pretty much useless.
By wearing spacers, our runner was essentially putting this muscle through a 4-month rehab program, forcing it into a position where it could finally wake up, activate, and rebuild its strength.
But hold on, there's one last crucial piece to this whole puzzle. You can fix all the hardware, the bones and muscles, but you also have to update the software. And by that, I mean the connection between your foot and your brain.
And this is so important. You can have perfect mechanical alignment, but it's totally useless if your brain doesn't trust it. The brain creates movement habits to avoid pain or instability, and those old, bad patterns have to be overwritten with new ones.
So let's look at it like this. Before, the brain's map of the foot just said, avoid the big toe. It's unstable. Then, during those 4 months with spacers, the brain got constant signals that loading the big toe was now safe, that it was a stable platform. So what happens? Now, even without the spacers, the brain's default setting has changed. It automatically uses the new, more efficient pathway it learned.
And that's everything. It's not just that the toe can take the load, it's that the brain knows it can. That neurological trust is what makes the changes stick around long after the training wheels are gone.
So to sum it all up, this one simple intervention performed a total structural reset. On one foot, it fixed the lever, the big toe, and restored that powerful propulsion. And on the other foot, it fixed the suspension, the arch, restoring natural shock absorption. It literally reestablished the entire kinetic chain.
And this all brings us to a final, pretty powerful question. This whole journey started because the foot was pushed out of its natural alignment. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Are the narrow, tapered shoes we wear every day slowly forcing our feet to de-evolve, deactivating the brilliant engineering they were designed with in the first place? Definitely something to think about.